Hi and welcome in this video. Today I talk about those two gimbals, handheld gimbals. Which is better, the Pilotfly H2 or the Zhiyun Crane 2? If you haven't seen already my video about how to create cinematic movements with the gimbal, check it out. There I talk about the H2 already, and I got the Zhiyun Crane 2 around 3 months ago for testing purpose. So they sent it to me, and this one I bought 1 year ago for around 900 euro, I think. Quite a good price when you compare it, for example, to the DJI Ronin, which I bought for 2,200 euro 3 years ago or something, and which is quite big. That's why I love those small handheld gimbals. This is only the package, but I will show you how it's inside and everything as well. So when you just compare both of them in size, you can see that the Zhiyun Crane is a bit bigger and it's also a bit heavier when you have both of them in the hand. So let's start with the Pilotfly and why I love that handheld gimbal. It just looks like this when you haven't seen a gimbal already, or handheld gimbal. So it has 3 axes and you put the camera with the slide on the gimbal, and then there are small magnetic motors inside, and those hold the camera always in level. So you don't have it like this, you don't have it like this, it's always leveled, and with that you can make nice cinematic looking movement shots, just like with a dolly, but everywhere. And why I love that small handheld gimbals, you can just travel perfect with them. You just have the small bag, you have your gimbal, you just put the camera on it, you put it out, and you can just start filming wherever you are, on top of a mountain, at a lake, down at the sea, at a beach or something. It does not matter because it's that small, and it usually always works. You then have with the H2, which I like a lot, a small button here. So you can just hit that button and then you can adjust the gimbal to the left or to the right, and you can make some nice panning, tilting stuff, and you can as well change modes with the modes button, and with that you can, for example, follow a subject or just keep your line so that nothing is moving. And that is cool when you want to make very clear movement with your camera and don't want to tilt to the left or to the right automatically. So just keep it just like on a dolly, because with a dolly you cannot move as well. And that's why I love those small handheld gimbals. What is the difference between both of them? The Pilotfly H2 can hold till 2.2 kilogram, so a camera that weighs that much with the lens, of course. Sony is no problem, even with a heavier lens like the Sigma 24mm, it works, but the heavier it gets, then it does not work anymore, and your motors will sound like zzz all the time. That's not good, then it will just break someday. We did many good shots with the H2, but we recognized as well some disadvantages. One of them is, for example, the slide or the mount where you adjust the camera on. I think it's Arca Swiss, but usually when we are filming we don't have Arca Swiss because the plates are much bigger. Then we always have to change the plates for the Pilotfly, and that takes some time during the filming process when you only film with one camera. For example, when you're traveling, I usually don't have like several cameras with me and have all the things mounted. When you are in a different situation, you maybe can do it, but that's a disadvantage as well. The plate is pretty small from the H2, and with that you usually have the issue that you mount your camera, and then because of the heavy lens or of the big lens, everything slides from left to right. We found a workaround, so we just adjusted like a rubber band you usually use for your wrist on the lens, and with that we made it bigger, and then it was attached on the front, but it was more of a workaround. Then the battery is adjusted or inside that grip here, so when the battery is done you cannot really change it, and we now have the issue after 1 year that the battery is not charging anymore in a full amount. So usually it has a very long amount and we don't need to charge it like in 2 days of filming, but it works maybe now 4 or 5 hours and then battery is empty again, and that was quite of an issue. And then I checked and you have to buy the whole thing here again, and that is not that cool. But beside of that, This thing here is very cool, and if you're only filming with a smaller camera, like with a Sony mirrorless camera, then it's totally a great gimbal. Let's check the Zhiyun crane. It costs something around 700 till 800 euro. It's a bit cheaper than the Pilotfly. So this is the H2 and this is the Zhiyun crane. You can see the difference. It's much bigger, a bit heavier as well, but not much heavier actually. And this one can take up till 3.2 kilos, so 1 kilo more than the H2, which is quite cool. When you mount a heavier camera to the Zhiyun crane, it's actually cool that it's that big, because then you can hold it with 2 hands and it's more stable, because when the camera is heavy, you might not have the big biceps or triceps muscles to hold that camera with 1 hand, so it's quite cool that you can actually hold it with 2 hands. Then as well, it's not only bigger, but it has this way around, it's the other way around like the Pilotfly. It has a different plate, and the plate is actually, and that is quite amazing, the same plate like, for example, from the shoulder rig. So when you're filming out in the field, you can use the shoulder rig and then just take the same mount for your camera and just slide it onto the Zhiyun crane. And that is pretty cool, because then you just have to adjust here, and then that everything is stable, and then you can just start filming. So this is really cool, and then you just go back and then put it back on your shoulder rig. So that is amazing. As well, the plate is bigger, and it has here some adjustment that you can fix your lens. The problem with the H2 is it can't appear, because it's so fixed, and even when it tilts from left to right, you can adjust it more and just make it very stable. And yeah, just have it here in front. And this is cool when you want to film with a gimbal and do side shots and not everything is sliding away all the time. There's quite a lot of stuff that comes with the Zhiyun crane, like this small tripod, for example, which you can use for the crane, but which you can use as well for, let's say, a time-lapse. You can adjust a small mount or a small hat, like a ball hat, just put it on and let's stay it somewhere, and then you have a tripod with you in that pack, which is quite cool and which is for free in the package. But you can as well use it for adjusting the Zhiyun crane when you want to level everything, because that is important with a handheld gimbal. You have a charger with it, so you have batteries, which I thought first is not that cool, because it's kind of cheap that you have those batteries inside here. But then I thought it's amazing, because with the Pilotfly we have the issues with the grip, and we have to get a new grip, which is dumb. But here you can just get new batteries, and you can get them very cheap on Amazon. Those are just those lithium-ion battery things, and you can just change them. You can take 6 batteries, 8 batteries with you, and then just change batteries when they are empty. And that is cool, because there you can't change batteries that fast. So first I thought it's cheap, but then I thought actually it's quite cool. The whole gimbal is very solid, very well made. It reminds me a bit of the Ronin, like a small Ronin, because how everything here looks. It even has more options. You can, for example, put an USB cable in the gimbal and then put it in your camera, and then you can hit record. So you can start your filming on the gimbal. You don't have to hit the camera. That was an issue as well, always with gimbals, with the Ronin, with the Pilotfly. But here you can start, just hit the record button and then you start it. You have several modes as well, and as you can see here on the side, you even have a focus puller. How amazing is that? I did not test the whole system. There's like a thing you can adjust to the lens, and then you can, with that thing here, pull the focus, but it's only one man. You see, you can do it like this, and you can adjust the focus, you can tilt, you can do the dolly shot, so it's only one man. So imagine a big camera, a cinema camera. One has to pull the focus, one has to look that everything is cool, one has to navigate the dolly, one has to do the record button. So there's a person for like every job. Here you can do everything just on your own. And up to 3.2 kilo, which is quite cool with that little gimbal. I think with some cameras you can adjust it with USB and then use that focus pulling here. But I did not test it yet. We had this gimbal with us in Iceland and in Norway in cold conditions and worked perfect. We had the H2 with us in Norway last year as well and worked perfect as well. What I recognized with the Zhiyun crane was that it's more stable. So even in hard wind conditions, it's very stable and very smooth because it's more solid, it's bigger, and I think also the motors here, the magnetic motors, are a bit bigger than with the Pilotfly. It's just more stable, and that's what I liked a lot. about this gimbal. There are even more features, like you can adjust the shutter speed or the f-stop with the USB cable and the camera, but with the camera we are using, the 7S II, it did not work. But yeah, you can just try it out if you want to test the gimbal yourself. Of course, not everything is roses with the Zhiyun Crane 2. What I don't like about that gimbal is the whole box here, because everything is so solid. When you adjusted the whole Zhiyun crane and tilted everything, and that can take some time, that everything is leveled right, and then you want to put it back in the box, it usually does not fit anymore, so you have to make everything fit again for the box, then pull it out and then do the whole process again. And that's quite of time disturbing. So yeah, they can make, when they do a new box or new Zhiyun Crane 3 or something, make just a box like with the Pilotfly made of foam, because here we don't have that issue, it's all foam and you can just do the gimbal like however you want it, and then it will fit because it's just foam. And you can make it, even if it does not fit, make it fit. German style. All in all, you can say that both of the gimbals are quite cool. I would say those are the best gimbals, even in 2018, even though this gimbal is a bit older. It's maybe now 1.5 years old, and this is quite new. Both of them are cool. This is a bit more heavy, so when it comes to traveling and you have a very small camera, you can use a smaller gimbal like the Pilotfly. It's totally cool. But when you have a heavier camera and you want more options, and it's even a bit cheaper, then go with the Zhiyun Crane. It's a very good gimbal, and yeah, we did some good experiences with that gimbal as well. So it's definitely a thumb up for this one and a thumb up for this one. This is a bit more professional, a bit more heavier, especially when you also want to change cameras. And this is quite more of a travel, smaller situation for smaller cameras, but quite cool as well. I love handheld gimbal shots, and because I love it, you will see some nice scenes with some nice music now, filmed with that one, and you won't see the difference because it's just amazing. What are your experiences with a handheld gimbal? Maybe you tested already the Zhiyun Crane, or maybe you tested already the Pilotfly. Just write it in the comments below. Maybe you're more into glide cam as well. What are you interested in? Should I do more tutorials about a handheld gimbal just like this? Then just write it in the comments as well. And quick commercial, if you want to learn more about filmmaking, the essentials of filmmaking, check out learnfromben.com. This is my website. There we have a whole video course. There I show you how I film with the gimbal as well, how I do like B-roll shots, how I cut everything together with music, what I look for and all the stuff. Learnfromben.com. And I see you in the next video. See ya. Bye bye. And take nice Gimbal shots. Gimbal gut.